This is reckless.
So is your casting.
I'm sorry, I'm not a mage!
A fact that is blatantly obvious. Is Leia ready?
She is. But are you sure this will work?
You may not be able to tell, but she's loyal. She misses Krim a lot. Now that she knows where to find him, she'll lead us right there.
Okay, but how's she supposed to carry all these supplies? I'm not casting another spell.
You don't have to. I can cast the spell from right here. Besides, she'll be fine. That jacket makes it where she can carry at least 10 times her own weight.
You mean like how characters in RPGs can carry tons of gear and items without so much as a backpack?
Yeah, something like that. Now get going. No telling how long it's going to take her to find Krim.
Yeah, alright. Leia, just give me a minute to get my own things together and I'll be right behind... Uh-oh.
What? What just happened?
I think she slipped out without me.
Are you serious? She was our only lead to finding Krim. Now without her, we don't have a chance.
Oh, God. I hope Krimson's doing alright. If sunlight causes sparkling, then why don't the Cullens block it with long sleeves and heavy makeup?
So the lion fell in love with the lamb.
So these two decide to create the most sordid romance ever, despite the ample sunlight that the camera's filters couldn't get rid of. Sorry, I'm done with that. It's rough and demanding, but Bella is enough of a pushover to condemn herself to whatever Edward wants.
I'm gonna take you to my place tomorrow.
Anti-feminine themes aside, there's a solid 8 minutes of nothing happening until Edward brings Bella home to meet the rest of his family.
Bella, we're making Italiano for you.
Oh.
Bella, this is Esme, my mother for all intents and purposes.
Buongiorno.
Molto bene.
Edward's family comes across as very polite and very welcoming.
Giving us an excuse to use the kitchen for the first time.
I hope you're hungry.
Yeah, absolutely.
She already ate.
Except for this bitch.
Yeah. Let's just keep pretending like this isn't dangerous for all of us.
And this is something that I found perplexing. Everyone in Edward's family, with the possible exception of Esme, is vastly more interesting than both Edward and Bella combined. Emmett here likes to hunt bears with his bare hands for food. Jasper apparently has to constantly repress his urge to kill. Carlisle was born in the 1600s and was bitten by a vampire and left for dead in a sewer and eventually learned how to control his bloodlust so well that he currently works in a hospital as a doctor. Any one of these people would make for a better protagonist, but instead we're stuck with this whining little git.
This is the skin of the killer, Bella.
Also, speaking of his family, there's something else I wanted to point out about vampires in this world. Everyone looks so anemic that they should be on an endless IV drip. This isn't a good character design. They all need emergency medical attention. Oh, and then there's Edward's sister, Alice. Do you remember how Edward can read minds? Well, Alice can see the future. Sort of. She does so by making the most awkward, presumptuous proclamations possible.
Alice, what are you...
It's okay. Bella and I are going to be great friends.
The problem with this, though, is that giving someone precognition and super strength and super speed eliminates literally any threat this group could ever face within this world. So, Meyer steered this little plot device in the worst possible direction she could have. She made the future subjective. It isn't set in stone because people can still change their minds about anything and alter what Alice sees. So after we get some more really awkward romance scenes with more awkward CGI, we get... what else? More extraneous bullshit! Edward and Bella talk some more. Bella's jealous friend tells her that he doesn't like Bella dating Edward, and Bella and her dad hang out at a diner. The only thing that does happen is that we get to see how much of a creepy stalker Edward is.
How did you get in here?
The window?
Do you do that a lot?
Well, just the past couple of months.
I've never seen a movie last so long that has so little to say. By the way, that's Stephanie Meyer sitting there on the counter. She came in to visit the set on a few occasions, and I guess the director thought a 2-second cameo would be cute.
This has been another useless fact.
Although I have to say I'm amused by this scene with Charlie.
I have a date with Edward Cullen.
He's a little old for you, isn't he?
If I had a daughter, that is exactly how I would greet her dates. With a gun in hand.
All right. Bring him in.
Now you'll have my daughter back by 10 o'clock, right? Where the hell do I keep getting these props from? And then there's the baseball scene. Yeah, it's about time we got to this one, isn't it? This is the scene in the book where the plot finally reared its ugly head. After 375 pages of meaningless drivel, 1 hour and 20 minutes of mind-fuckingly boring cinema, something finally happens. So the Cullens all gather to play baseball. They play baseball in the rain because of their super strength, because the bat hitting the ball sounds just like thunder. How can you take vampires with super speed and super strength and put them in a baseball game and keep it exactly as boring as a regular baseball game? Maybe it's because I'm not into baseball myself, but I feel that if superpowers are involved in sports, that they should do something to spice the game up. Or better yet, just have the vampires play football instead. That would be worth watching. Well, as long as the Cowboys aren't playing. But then there's that pesky plot I mentioned before. The 3 other vampires that had attacked those people earlier in the movie appear, and they're bad vampires. Well, I mean, they're evil vampires. They're not just people who are bad at being vampires. Because they all suck one way or another. So they exchange small talk for a minute until one of the evil vampires, this Chris Hemsworth wannabe named James, smells Bella.
A human?
So after posing for a while like irate cats, Edward gets Bella out of the woods with one solution that comes to mind. Sorry. I just went so long without talking about a plotline, I'm a little winded. James is an expert tracker and can apparently hunt someone from even miles away. For Bella to avoid the tracker vampire, she decides to leave the state and go back home to Arizona. But first she has to get past her father. Since she can't simply vanish, she convinces her father that she has to leave because she broke up with Edward and can't stand being in Forks because of him. And she executes this plan in the worst way possible.
Look, Bella, I know I'm not that much fun to be around, but I can change that. We can do more stuff together. Bella, come on, I just got your back.
Yeah, and you know, if I don't get out now, then I'm just gonna be stuck here like Mom.
Oh my god, this is heartbreaking! I mean, the acting isn't great, but imagine what Charlie's going through. This was the best plan you could come up with? You emotionally torment your father just so a vampire wouldn't find out where he lived after you led that vampire there?
You have to take me home. So you can't go home. He's just gonna trace your scent there. It's the first place he's gonna look.
But my dad is there.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. He could get killed because of us.
I hate to say it, but Edward's right. You could have stayed away from your dad and just conveyed this terrible plan over the phone instead. Oh, and it gets worse.
I told him the same thing that my mom told him when she was leaving him.
Wait, her mother said...
Yeah, and you know, if I don't get out now, then I'm just gonna be stuck here like Mom.
Someone didn't proofread! Our heroine, everyone! Well, Edward's heroine, but whatever. She needlessly wounds her father, who is perhaps the only likable person in this entire series, in order to avoid the much more obvious solution. And there were so many better ways to solve this issue! But no, they have to split up and choose the only option that gives the bad guys a chance to succeed. Alice and Jasper drive Bella to Arizona, while Edward, Rosalie, and Emmett run the other direction, while Rosalie wears Bella's clothes to throw off James's sense of smell. And since the plan came from Bella, you can expect it to be fraught with failure. James stops following Edward's group after a while because now he can smell better? I don't know, but either way, Bella is 1,500 miles away. There's no way James can track her from that far away, right?
Mom, are you there?
Forks High School doesn't protect its students' privacy very well. It was just too easy for Victoria to find your previous address.
Oh, that's right. There's an easily found written record of Bella's old address where apparently her mother was.
Don't touch her! Don't just...
You can still save her. But you're gonna have to get away from your friends.
And so we get into writing cliche 932. Come alone, don't bring the cops. Honestly, does this ever work out? She goes in alone, but since she's utterly unprepared even for real life, she's bound to get her ass kicked. But, dim as Bella is, she goes alone to see James anyway, meeting him at an old abandoned dance studio. Okay, what the hell is the motivation right now? Why is James going to such extreme lengths just for Bella? This is way beyond the limits of obsession, even with in-universe context. Why does he have to cross several states to eat one person when there are millions of other people that he could get to along the way? And several of those points are metropolitan areas with healthy nightlives, so James can just walk around and grab whoever he wants. And don't tell me it's because Bella smells so uniquely appetizing. If that were the case, then why didn't anyone else from Edward's family get even slightly tempted to eat her like Edward was at first? So, bringing back an old note, do you remember that pointless soliloquy from the beginning of the movie?
I'd never given much thought to how I would die. But dying in the place of someone I love seems like a good way to go.
Yeah! This is what she was referring to. I imagine many of you thought she was talking about dying for Edward, but nope! It's her mom. The line was a weak attempt at foreshadowing, not only because it was poorly written, and because it did nothing to entice the audience or set the mood for later, but because the assumed outcome didn't occur. Do you want to see a better example of the same idea? Check out the intro to BioShock Infinite.
Booker, are you afraid of God?
No. But I'm afraid of you.
As Bella enters the dance studio, she overhears her mother calling out for her, only to discover a moment later that it was an old home video from when Bella was a kid.
Bella, where are you? Mom. There you are. What are you doing in here?
Everyone makes fun of me. You're a wonderful dancer. Mom, I suck.
Okay, I know that's all background stuff and it isn't terribly important, but there is no way that video could have ever sounded organic. Unless James did the most slapdash job ever in editing several old videos together, both Bella and her mother suffer from an unnatural inability to sound like real humans. Again, not terribly important, but I think my brain's doing whatever it can to distract myself from this movie.
No, but you really made it too easy. So, to make things more entertaining, we're gonna make a little film of our time together.
So the girl who is so appetizing that vampires are crawling over each other to get to her, except when they aren't, is so mouthwatering that you're just gonna delay eating her for several minutes. That doesn't make any fucking sense! You've hunted this girl across several states, went through an absurd amount of effort to get to her, only to taunt her for a few minutes for no real reason. What, was this just to taunt her boyfriend? Why bother with the camera? Her dead body will be enough! Writing cliche number 63, taunting the protagonist and delaying their death for no reason. Why am I counting cliches now when the entire book is full of them? Because then I'd have to create an entire numerical list and I've been tortured enough for one day. Finish the fucking movie! This is like ordering a steak at a 5-star restaurant, only to just let it sit there and cool when you know your douchebag cousin wants to run in, steal it from you, then kill you. So after James flies through the air, and don't tell me he isn't flying, he goes up in midair, he smacks Bella around, thus becoming an outlet for my catharsis and my favorite character in one single action. However, Edward runs in and ruins the scene in progress by saving Bella. Can't we just give natural selection a chance here? They fight in what could have been an interesting fight if there was a single drop of talent in the story, but right now I'm more interested in cleaning the dirt from under my fingernails. James bites Bella, transferring the vampiric spit into her arm necessary to turn her into a vampire. That's both gross and less symbolic than transferring blood like in other stories. The fight ends when the rest of the Cullens show up. They end up tearing James apart, literally, and burning to pieces. But we don't really get to see that since the important thing is... Oh my god! Bella's turning into a vampire! The Cullens want to save her, though, like I said, aside from a little pain during transformation, there are no real disadvantages to becoming a vampire. So, the problem now is in sucking the infected blood out of Bella's veins to stop her from becoming a vampire herself. Apparently, when drinking a human's blood, the temptation is to drain them completely, but in this case, they'll have to drain only the infected blood. So who would you rather take on this important task? The experienced doctor who's done this multiple times before and has perfect control over his bloodlust? Or the whining git? Of course! Defenders of the book have said that Carlisle couldn't undertake this crucial step himself because he had to perform important medical treatment at the time, since Bella's femoral artery had been cut. Obvious medical nonsense aside, I would like to point out that all he's doing is holding a belt in place on her leg and using it as a tourniquet. So after Edward manages to suck enough of the blood out, see what I did there? Bella's life flashes before her eyes, and we have to rewatch about a minute of unimpressive editing.
Death is peaceful. Easy.
Yeah, tell that to the vampire who's not 20 feet away and is currently burning to death. So Bella survives and wakes up in a hospital where her mother greets her.
So you went over to their hotel, then you tripped, and you fell down 2 flights of stairs. Went through a window.
This might be my favorite part of the whole movie. Now, as excruciating as this entire climax has been, it was far worse in the book. Bella was captured by James, got bitten, woke up and saw Edward for half a second before she fell asleep again, then woke up in the hospital. Large swaths of events were ignored for the ease of writing the scene. The fight between Edward and James. Not described in the text. Edward's difficulty in sucking. The bad blood out. Yeah, I did that joke again.
Her blood is clean, you're killing her. Edward.
Not described in the text. What day of the week it was or how long Bella's been out. Bella starts to think about it, but that info was lazily left out as well. This is the most slipshod climax I've ever read, and that includes everything I've seen Nick Sparks do. Look, the man's boring and predictable as hell, but he at least understands something of story structure. Usually. Edward and Bella have a heart-to-heart talk about whether or not she should move to Florida to be with her mother. However, Bella doesn't take this very well.
Are you... No! No! How... I don't even know what you're saying. How... What are you talking about? You want me to go away? I can't... No, I can't just leave you.
Severe dependency issues? What are those? Apparently that string of incoherent babbling was all Edward needed to hear to get him to drop the argument. In the final scene, Edward takes Bella to the prom. We get one final bit with Jacob pushing Bella to break up with Edward, which works about as well as you'd expect.
Take her, man.
As they dance daddy-daughter style, Bella pushes for Edward to turn her into a vampire, a plot thread that will no doubt get more annoying as it goes on throughout the entire series, until she finally does get converted in the 4th book. See what I did there? And the movie ends with the 3rd vampire from James's group, Victoria, looking on in anger and walking towards the camera. She hasn't said one word this entire film and has an entire 60 seconds of screen time, but who cares? Movie's over! Fucking finally! There are so many horrible things I could say about this book, this movie, and this entire series. Containing it to a single video is a test in patience in and of itself. If I had to sum the movie up in one word, and profanity wasn't allowed, then it would have to be awkward. The performances were awkward. The romance was awkward. The editing and the cinematography were awkward. Barely anything worked during this whole production. The script sucked. The special effects were a fucking embarrassment. And Kristen Stewart looked like she was in a drunken stupor the entire time. Seriously, try closing your mouth without biting your lip. Absolutely no one gave a compelling or emotional performance. Considering the source material and the script, I'm not sure what the director could have done to make this enjoyable. Of course, if I were directing this, production would have started with my suicide. This thing gets a 1 out of 5. I have nothing good to say about this book. I honestly feel like I could teach an entire class on how not to write by using this one book alone. The characters are terrible. The romance is incredibly sappy and unrealistic. The universe is either broken or boring. The writing is among the worst I've ever seen in a published novel. The whole thing reads like the first draft of something written by someone suffering from substantial brain damage. The pacing is somewhere between Slug trying to power through molasses and Dead Bird. It takes an eternity for scenes to play out, and even as they do, the characters are so obnoxious or boring or confusing that we couldn't possibly give the slightest shit about what happens to any of them. The only reason to read it is to study the terrible writing so you know what to avoid. This is among the worst books I have ever read in my entire life. This isn't even good enough to warrant a 1 over 5. Twilight gets The Book Was Better's first ever fuck you out of 5. The only way this movie scores any points is how it performs as an adaptation. The book is boring? Well, so's the movie. The book has awful characters? Well, so does the movie. The book makes me want to murder someone? Well, so does the movie. Chagrined as I am to give Twilight any kind of positive ranking, it actually does transition the terrible story, world, and characters of the book to the movie. In fact, it condenses a lot of the dull scenes, trims the acres of fat from the prose, and the movie is mostly the bare-boned events from the book. Both products are still terrible, and I would encourage everyone to avoid them, but the transition from book to movie did what I believe some adaptations should do, at least in terms of formula. In this case, I'd rather a step had been added involving a furnace. As an adaptation, Twilight gets a 3 out of 5. And there it is. The worst movie I have ever seen. I barely have the words to describe how much I hate this thing. And the worst part is, I'm still stuck in this truck. I'm probably gonna have to sit through the rest of the series too. God only knows if I'll survive that. I can only hope that... Leia? What? How did you find me? Good girl. Good girl. No signal. No surprise, looks like we're out in the mountains. At least I got these. And... Alright. Now Leia, you stay here. I need to go kill an evil doppelganger, okay? I'll be right back as soon as I'm done. Alright, motherfucker. Where are you?
Raem! Where are you?
Here! Do you really think that will help? You've tried to fight me and it hasn't worked.
I seem to recall forcing you to run away once.
Yes, once. But that was before you watched Twilight. Now you don't stand a chance.
I won't let you do this!
You're going back in a truck!
Peace and love, motherfucker! I'm not putting up with this bullshit anymore!
You thought you could win with opposing rings? You have 2 of them. I have 6, and they're stronger thanks to you. Your plan was never going to work. Spineless coward. No more running. Give up now.
You have hounded me for months. You have beaten me. You threw me in a truck and you forced me to watch the worst fucking movie I've ever seen. I don't care what it takes. I am going to kill you.
You can certainly try. You have no idea how much I want to choke the life out of you.
I'm not done.
Oh, yes, you are. How long can you keep this up? I know how tired you are. Are you ready to give up yet? The sword again? You have to be able to hit me for that to work. Fine. Swing that sword. See if it does any good. You're lucky I can't kill you. I am every ounce of anger you've ever felt. All the rage, all the selfishness you've ever spat out. Your anger fuels me. You are a battery.
Have you met my cat? She's adorable. She's the softest, little, fluffiest kitty ever.
What nonsense are you sputtering out now? What does that have to do with anything? What did you do?
Oh, well, I've trained with these enough that it no longer overtakes my mind, but I do feel warm and fuzzy inside. That takes away your power.
You can't do this! You're beneath me! You only live to give me strength!
You know, I really do love magic rings. I'm feeling better already.
I will kill you!
You can try. Woo! Oh my god, that worked! I didn't think that could do it! Oh, I was so sure I was gonna die. Oh my god, I finally got those rings off. GC!
Crimson, fine. Are you alright? Where are you?
Yeah, don't worry. I'm okay. I just had to fight to the death out here in the woods. No idea where I am right now.
What about Raem? Where is he?
No, Raem captured me, but I escaped and just killed him, actually.
Okay, did you remove the rings? That's the only way to make sure he's dead.
Wait. What?
If he still has the rings, he isn't dead. Get those rings from him now.
GC, we have a problem.
Let me guess. He got away. Great job, hero. This wouldn't have happened if you just listened to me and waited like I told you to.
Look, just do whatever the hell you can. Try to track him. He's weaker now, and I know how to kill him.
Fine. I'll get someone on it. But we're gonna have a long talk about this when you get home.
Fine, whatever. Just do me a favor. I'm in the middle of goddamn nowhere. Find me a ride out of here, please.